Hello, my name is Pablo Valdivia. Welcome to our video introduction to the profile Culture and Literature. In this video, we will show you who we are, what courses and opportunities we offer, and what you can expect from choosing our profile.
My name is Vera Alexander. Hello. Fasten your seatbelts, guys, because this is going to be a bit different from the literature training that you know from school.
We will tell you a bit about what we do, what it means to do research in culture and literature with us. We explain what makes our profile unique in terms of student opportunities, and we give you a brief tour of the courses we offer and the research they are based on.
We also give you a list of topics some of your fellow students have worked on in the last couple of semesters. And we have a couple of student testimonials who will tell you what made them choose culture and literature.
We are the largest, most diverse, and most versatile chair group in this program. And in the course of your BA, you will have the opportunity to be taught by most of the people you see in this picture.
You can click on the link to find out more about our research specialties and get inspiration for your own work, because our cutting-edge research shapes every aspect of what and how we teach.
Everybody in this group is driven by enthusiasm for culture and literature, and we are among the global vanguard of research and innovation in the field we love, both in terms of the great variety of topics we offer and in the methodologies we develop and use. We have connections to other top universities in the world and bring them to Groningen.
What does this mean for you? Here are some of the possibilities.
We offer professional training, for instance, in peer review processes, interactive teaching methods, cutting-edge AI developments, like you have seen, for instance, with Perusal, and so many other technologies and techniques that we are developing at this moment.
Our goals encompass applied excellence and knowledge, for instance, in the form of student publications. We introduce you to a large public sphere beyond this university. Many of your fellow students have had outstanding papers published, and we encourage you guys to develop your voice and your vision from your BA onwards.
You will profit from networking and collaboration in national research centers and global and summer schools. For instance, I already sent you a very warm invitation for our next summer school that, if Corona allows us, will be physically live in Colombia next summer. Don't miss it.
Can't wait for that. Our virtual doors are always open to talk about your ideas and goals. So tell us about them. And we would love to hear from you and help you realize your ambitions.
Work and fun blend together, especially in our many academic travels. In the past 4 years, culture and literature has taken us from Granada and Valencia in Spain to Boston and Colombia and Japan for conferences and many other exciting activities. Also, we have carried out international master classes and much more. And where we go, some of our students come along.
Some of us recently went to Argentina and Chile and Peru, and we can't wait to take off again.
And in the meantime, there is so much fabulous reading. Ask us for tips. Actually, you don't have to. We tell you about great treasures, names, titles all the time.
And tell us what you guys are reading and watching at the moment. We're all armchair travelers across the pages and the screens at the moment, and it's all relevant to culture and literature.
Here are the most important principles that our research and teaching are based on.
Curiosity did not kill the cat. It's the basis of our research and teaching. We are always asking new questions and address the ones society and the present present us with.
Excellence. We strive for excellence in our publications, and we help you develop your talents and potential.
Collaboration and interaction are central. We work and publish together as a team, and we encourage you guys to cooperate and collaborate and experience how much more fun it is to develop your minds in dialogue with others.
Yes, innovative tools. That is why students are always at the core and at the center of all our courses. So we develop tools and techniques that make your teaching and learning experience totally unique.
We also strive to be relevant, to understand the world as it is now. Earlier this year in 2020, we responded to the COVID-19 crisis with a video series presenting innovative humanities approaches and responses to the crisis.
And finally, transformation. We know that we live in a changing world, and we need to imagine and to shape the world of tomorrow. And that, of course, includes you and your visions.
And with these ideas in mind, let's take a closer look and have a listen to what lies behind some of the courses that you will encounter in our profile. You might recognize this slide because our friend and colleague, the great Florian Lippert, made it for the recent info session on electives. Always acknowledge your sources. Have a listen to what our colleagues have to say about what lies behind these titles.
These are just small appetizers, but we hope they will make you curious and give you lots of inspiration and help you understand why we chose a career in culture and literature in the past and continue to choose it again every morning. Contact us for more information. We really love questions.
Does reading make you a better person? Or are narratives at best an escapist waste of time and at worst a dangerous source of corruption that leaves you confused about what is real and what is imagined? Well, by now you probably already know that when faced with two diametrically opposed choices, the answer is somewhere in between. And in Profile 1, Texts and Contexts, we take you into that murky territory of in-betweenness, between good and evil. We, that is my colleagues Vera Feldhausen and Christian Kirchmeier, and myself, Vera Alexander. And together we will consult with experts from Frankenstein and Goethe's Faust to Lolita and Killing Eve to figure out what to do with moral dilemmas, with situations where there is no right or wrong. We will spend some time in bad company of monsters, real or imagined, characters we wouldn't make friends with, but whose actions we still somehow like to watch. Because let's face it, villains are attractive and make life more interesting. So next spring, we will investigate the superpower of narratives to help us be in more than one place at once and see things from more than one perspective. And how come we can enjoy reading about a villain without turning into one. See you there.
Hi, I'm Hugh Mcdonald. I'm the course leader for the course Narrating Space in Modern Europe. One of the things I really like about this course is that space is very much a thing we take so for granted we often don't even think about it. But in fact, it really shapes our everyday lives and experiences in really profound ways. And just as maps, if you like, help us make sense of geographical space, so literature and culture can help us make sense and navigate our way through everyday life and make sense of our experiences, not only in culture and literature, but also in terms of politics and the social world as well. So we cover lots of ground on this course, ranging from post-colonial theory to eco-criticism to theories and ideas about the distinction between urban and rural space and to what extent that's problematic. Likewise for issues to do with the relationships between north and south, west and east, and so on. So from Homer's Odyssey to Dante to present day cinema and the French banlieue, I look forward to discussing how space implicates itself into our lives next semester.
If you're interested in power relations, questions of identity, the way how literature and culture can be both a tool for change and a method of oppression, come to us, Gender and Literature. Available in both Dutch and English, we read texts in a variety of genres, poetry, short stories, novels, film, and discuss representations of gender, sexuality, masculinity, and the troubled relationship between the body and the self. We compare different cultural perspectives in a globalizing world.
In addition to modern juggernauts of both literature and gender studies, we will be exploring lesser known regions such as communism and gender relations, the link between migration and gender, and the place where it all starts, children's literature. Did you know, for example, that in Dutch the word meisjesliteratuur does not exist, or that girls' literature as a term is only defined in Swedish. Together, we will analyze the many different ways gender influences the way we see and represent the world. We look forward to meeting you next year in Gender and Literature. See you then.
Hi, my name is Florian Lippert and I'm the coordinator of the course Reading, Watching, Looking, Theories of Reception. The main question in this course is what happens in our minds when we read a book, or when we watch a film, or when we look at a complex painting. But we will also deal with interesting side questions, such as when you watch a scary film, is it really a good idea to cover your eyes with your hands? It is not. Or when we stand in front of a large painting, where do we look first? Or when reading a novel, what does it depend on how much we identify with a fictional character? Or what is Kafkaesque about Kafka's texts? About all these questions and many more questions related to the big topic of reception, which is basically the fancy word for how we read and watch, there are many different theories in different disciplines, in literary studies, in film studies, in art history, of course, but also in psychology, in sociology, or in cognitive science. And I'm looking very much forward to discussing some of these theories, and very importantly also to apply and test some of these theories in a series of in-class experiments we will do together in this course, Reading, Watching, Looking, with you. So see you then.
Once upon a time. Just that sentence alone is enough to conjure up the image of childhood innocence, Disney castles, and fairy tale magic. Yet, fairy tales themselves are brutal stories filled with torture, murder, rape, and eternal punishment. The idea that fairy tales are children's stories is very recent, and the notion that children should have stories written for them at all is, in the history of European literature, radical and new. Yet the genre of children's literature is so distinct, such a hallmark of culture, and so instantly recognizable. Or is it? In the Multicultural Scene, we explore, analyze, and discuss children and childhood media in Europe. What is a child? What makes a text for children? What lessons are we trying to impart through these texts? What is the line between propaganda and didacticism? Come join Stella Lynn and myself, Vera Veldhuizen, in challenging debates surrounding various children's poems, fairy tales, novels, and songs, as we explore this most political of all genres of literature. We look forward to meeting you at the end of this next year, so year 2, at the Multicultural Scene. See you there.
Hello, everybody. My name is Pablo Valdivia. I'm the facilitator of the course Imagining Europe's Tomorrow. This is a fascinating course because we will use the tools provided by cultural science and literary studies to study from a research challenge-based perspective problems that are connected to all of us and the possible futures ahead of us. In this course, we will have projects. Each student will have to prepare what I call a vision report. And these vision reports will be inspired on a paper already published by the European Commission entitled as the White Paper on the Future of Europe. Through the lenses of utopian and dystopian studies and cultural studies, you will work on solving real-world problems that are connected to possible futures for our societies and also current goals that are pervasive in our community. Especially in this course, one of the main active learning goals that we will develop is what we call collective critical thinking. So how can we find consensus to challenging problems that are connected to all of us? And besides, we will find ways of co-creating new solutions for complex problems. So therefore, we'll have to engineer new metaphors and design new futures. As one example here illustrates with the metaphor Fortress Europe and how actually perhaps instead of being inspired by the European Commission, we will be the next change makers and global leaders that will inform the European Commission. See you there very soon. Bye.
Hi everyone, my name is Christian Kirchmer and I would like to talk with you about the course Thinking Culture. If you study the profile culture and literature, you can imagine that the concept of culture is very important. So what do we mean when we talk about culture? One important definition comes from the American anthropologist Clifford Geertz, who has said that humans are animals suspended in webs of significance they themselves have spun. What does that mean? First of all, it means that we are suspended in these webs. So we live in these webs and we cannot get rid of these webs if we do not want to fall down. So there is no way of human life without living in one of these different forms of culture. But second of all, it also means that we can create these webs in different ways when we are the ones who make it. So let me just give you two examples. The one has to do with gender. So do we believe that there are only two different genders? And if so, what do we believe how they relate? Is the one more rational and the other more emotional or something like that? Or is it completely different? Is it something that we perform? Something that we do like on stage in our everyday life, and the way we dress, the way we move, the way we behave? Is that something that creates the gender identity that we have? Another aspect that has to do with cultural theory is the question of the best political form. Do you tend to believe that liberal democracies are the best form that there are? Or can they be a bit improved, like with the notion of social democracy? Or is it something that we need to get rid of on our way to socialism and ultimately to communism? So where is the end of history? And depending on how you answer this question, this will have significant impacts on the way you live and on the way the culture is in which you live. So we're going to discuss these and many other questions, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the course.
Hello everybody, my name is Camilla Sutherland and I'm an assistant professor in the Culture and Literature profile. I'm actually a specialist in Latin American culture and literature, particularly the work of women writers and artists. And in the Culture and Literature language-specific courses for Spanish, for example, you'll have the opportunity to study the rich and diverse culture, history and politics of the Latin American region. Across this profile, we always view culture and literature as deeply intertwined with political and social issues. So within the Spanish language-specific courses that I teach, you'll be called upon to critically examine the legacy of European colonialism within Latin America, for example. We might think about how the Cuban Revolution and the broader Cold War context have impacted upon cultural production within the region. We'll also consider topics such as gender identity within the work of artists such as the Mexican painter Frida Kahlo. We might think about responses to military dictatorship within Chilean cinema, or race relations in Caribbean literature. This is just a snapshot of some of the various subject matter you could study within your language-specific courses in the Culture and Literature profile, and I really look forward to teaching you across your time at Groningen.
Hello everyone, my name is Ksenia Roba. I'm a senior lecturer in European culture and literature with a focus on Russian and Eastern European cultures. More specifically, my research engages with the intricate questions of memory and time. How do our imaginations of past, present and future unite and divide us? How are they shaped and reshaped through narratives? And what is the role of media and mediation, such as in literature, visual culture, monuments and museums? All these questions are of foremost societal relevance today, when different pasts are so forcefully brought into our present by a range of activist movements such as the BLM, by right-wing populists who appropriate earlier narratives of revolutions, as well as new revolutions which legitimate themselves by drawing on earlier cultural repertoires. I'm most fascinated by drawing comparisons between Eastern European and Global South contexts, and in that I collaborate with the NGOs and museums working on memory and education. These are all the interesting questions that we'll engage with in Russian language-specific courses if you are taking this track, as well as in Narrating Space in Modern Europe, where I'll encourage you to think about time and space as always interconnected, and in a range of other courses and activities. So, taking it from here, I'll see you soon.
So, what's your story? Many people think of literature as encompassing novels, fiction, invented people in invented situations, whereas when you read non-fiction like newspapers, you get pure unadulterated fact. Well, except for fake news. So it's not as simple as that. And within literary studies, life narratives based on real situations and real people and real places have become one of the most vibrant new areas of research. In this first language-specific course for the target language of English, Writing Modern Lives, we study life narratives in different media. And we look at how ideas of identity and the self have changed over time and what motivates people to turn over their private thoughts and confessions to an increasingly ruthless public sphere. Using innovative blended learning tools and assessment forms such as an interactive research diary, which gives you heaps of choices, we will bust a few myths about writing, truth, sincerity, subjectivity, memory, and genre. And we will confront some of the questions that are raised by life writing, such as what makes a life worth writing or reading about, and why can't you trust the camera, the pen, and even the mirror? Have fun!
Hi everyone, my name is Alberto Godioli. I am an assistant professor at the European Culture and Literature profile, and in my research I mostly work on humor and the limits of free speech. So I focus on controversies related to satirical novels, offensive jokes, memes, cartoons, etc. More precisely, my research field is something that I try to define as forensic humor studies, which means that I look at how judges and courts deal with humor in the context of free speech regulation. In this article, for example, I analyzed a series of cases from the European Court of Human Rights focusing on cartoon controversies. This is clearly a very topical issue if we think about, for example, ongoing debates on Charlie Hebdo's cartoons, also in the wake of the murder of schoolteacher Samuel Paty just a few weeks ago in France. The thing that I find most rewarding about my research area is that I get to collaborate a lot with people from different backgrounds. For instance, as part of my research, I have been collaborating with Cartoon Movement, which is a global network of cartoonists, but also with jurists and human rights associations such as the Columbia University Global Freedom of Expression Project and the Human Rights Center in Ghent. So hopefully this is a good example of the relevance of what we do in our profile, and in general the world needs experts in culture and literature in order to tackle complex societal issues such as this one. So I thank you very much for listening and hopefully see you somewhere down the road during your studies.
Hi everyone, my name is Judith Jansma and I am working as a lecturer within the profile of culture and literature. For instance, I'm teaching Applied Sociology of Literature, which is profile course 3, and I'm also teaching the language-specific courses for French and Dutch, and some of you may know me actually from Studying Europe, which I also taught in the first block. Besides that, I am doing a PhD as well. This is a 4-year intensive research program in which I'm writing a doctoral thesis, and the central topic of my thesis is the intertwinement of cultural and political debates, more precisely how so-called populist politicians make use of culture to shape their political narratives. For example, who can be part of the people and who can't. At the same time, I analyze cultural debates in which these populist narratives are largely reflected and reproduced, not only by populists, but in fact by almost everyone. For example, what I call us versus them thinking and practices of othering are also something we see in current debates on the coronavirus, in the shape of scapegoating. You may remember students are often blamed for partying too much, for instance. Things like that. One of my case studies is the 2015 novel Submission by Michel Welbeck. In this novel, which you might know, Welbeck depicts a near-future France in which the country has become an Islamic republic. And I analyze how political figures such as Marine Le Pen or former President François Hollande responded to this novel, the former by using it as a justification for her political agenda, as you might have expected, and the latter for denouncing Welbeck's text as Islamophobic and dangerous for French democracy. I also analyze how the novel was framed in mainstream media and argue that this framing reflects and reproduces popular ideas and narratives about the Muslim other. I'm telling you all this in this video actually for 2 reasons. First, I wanted to tell you a bit more about academic life beyond the bachelor program of ELC. Perhaps some of you will be interested in taking a PhD as well in the future. And second, I think most importantly, I hope to show you that the research we do in the Cultural Literature Chair group is far from traditional close reading of classical novels, and in fact way more exciting than that, as we combine different disciplines and study complex societal challenges. If you have any more questions about my research, or maybe you want to know more about doing a PhD, please feel free to contact me. So all good luck with your profile choice, and I'm looking forward to meeting you.
Hi, I'm Katie, a recent ELC graduate with major in politics and society and minor in literature and culture. I chose literature as it is very interdisciplinary. It does not only focus on literary studies, but it also focuses on the engagement with contemporary society. It really focuses on the role the literature and culture has in contemporary society, how it can help us understand it and make sense of it, but also it gives us the tools to do so. So, for example, the analysis of the construction of narratives in the political arena, or the engagement with contemporary issues that Europe is facing, such as migration, or even cultural studies can help us understand why society is shaped the way it is today. I personally think that it was the perfect fit together with the politics profile, and it really represented a solid basis for the master that I'm currently doing, Euroculture.
Hello, my name is Tere, and I finished the profile Literature and Culture last year. I chose this profile because I generally love literature, and also the topics represented seemed very interesting to me. The profile is very broad. There are a lot of different topics that are discussed, such as ethics, myths, anti-heroes, different narratives, children's literature, etc. So there's definitely something you will like in every single block. Also, the workload is very doable. It didn't cost me any extra stress, which is great. And there's also a lot of freedom within the course to do what you like. If you're interested in one very specific subject, you can write about that, for example. So if you like literature and general topics like that, then this is definitely the profile for you.
Hi everyone, my name is Esther, and I'm a research assistant to Pablo Valdivia in the chair of Literature and Culture. I was asked to talk to you briefly about my experience as a research assistant and of course also as a student of the Literature and Culture track. I took this track in combination with the politics one, and alongside this I studied psychology, and I'm currently taking a communication science pre-master. If you are watching this video, you probably have many good arguments already in favor of choosing this track, and you will be provided with many more directly by the experts. But I wanted to take a more casual approach and talk to you about the doubts that you might be having when facing this choice. So for me, when facing the choice, the recurring question was that of, okay, I want to study literature, but what do I do with it? What will I do with it? And at the time, it seemed like being unable to answer that question was an argument against choosing this track, against studying literature and culture. And in retrospect now, I see that that is not an argument against, but rather a very strong one in favor, because this constant doubt and questioning of the relevance of what you are doing, what you are learning, and how you will apply it is what will make you excel as a student in this profile, because it will lead you to ask the most relevant questions and write the most critical essays, and it will also really motivate you to find connections between societal issues, between issues you care about, and the things that you are learning. Obviously, becoming a research assistant also really helped to answer this question of what do I do with this in a way that has been motivating rather than scary, intimidating. And to give you some examples about what we have been doing, last exam block we co-organized a congress in computational linguistics, also with a focus on literary studies, with the Universidad de Antioquia in Medellin in Colombia. And we would have gone there, but obviously the circumstances didn't allow for it, and instead we turned it into a very successful digital event. We also taught 2 courses in active learning methods through LASPAO, which is a Harvard-affiliated nonprofit, which makes connections between knowledge-based societies across the Americas and worldwide. We also had other projects with AI, with metaphors, but I'm not sure I can talk about them yet because they are still unfolding. But apart from the obvious bureaucratic tasks, which are a significant part of academia, most work has been really exciting and multidisciplinary and very internationally oriented. And these are not just buzzwords, they are real connections being made and real experiences being shared. Now, of course, you will not be doing these exact things because the track of literature and culture is very broad and you will bring to it your own set of skills, your own languages and ambitions, and you will be able to really develop these because of how broad this track is. I want to point out though that the track is not too broad and that eventually you will be forced to really narrow things down and to formulate very specific and concrete questions. We'll give you some examples of research topics so you can see how diverse they are, but also how specific. Now, you will obviously not be doing this on your own because you will be studying and learning as a part of a network full of very encouraging and obviously knowledgeable individuals, some of which you know already and some of which you are yet to meet. And they will help you to really guide you through doubting productively and to help you resolve this question of what do I do with it in a way that really works for you. So I encourage you to reach out, to be interested in their work, to look at how they answer this question. And in summary, if you have the question of what do I do with it, this is not an argument against, but rather something that will make you excel as a student of literature and culture. So good luck with your choice and perhaps see you around.
So, ladies, gents, and honourable non-binaries, we hope this video has given you a clearer sense of what culture and literature is all about. We understand that making choices so early on can be a bit scary, and hope this video helps you think in terms of possibilities rather than anxiety. By studying culture and literature, among other things, you find out a lot about yourself. And we look forward to getting to know you better. Talk to people. Ask other students about their choices and their experiences. Consult with your mentors. And please, please come and talk to us, especially if you're not sure what to choose. We can help you find your way and a place for you to grow and blossom in culture and literature. As you have seen, as a chair group, we are always learning and evolving. We certainly didn't train as YouTubers, but here we are, trying to tell our story via video. We don't tell you what to think or which profile or profiles to choose, but we would sure love to see you in our courses and to learn more about you.